Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And unsurprisingly, Disney-Pixar's Elio is the lowest opening ever in Pixar history. A lot of people didn't even know this movie was out. Mm-hmm. So it's not very surprising at all.
Really,
and
no.
It's a new IP, and it didn't. Frankly, the trailer didn't look that interesting.
No, I think that's what it was. It was actually not. It wasn't bad. This one, again, people are gonna be like, "Haha, it failed." Like, well, we said it was going to fail. Two things can be true at the same time. A movie can actually be not bad and still do crappy at the box office. I mean, I'm not arguing that it's going to do bad. It did do bad. It's probably. I don't think it's going to do well in the theaters. I think people are trained to wait for Disney Plus. I don't think people have. There's lots of reasons for this. We'll talk about later. But that being said, the movie was still not bad.
Yeah. And this has happened before. I mean, there are a lot of movies that are cult classics. That
I was thinking that too. Hocus
Pocus, Christmas Story, Transformers. The movie was a massive. I think it only made like $5 million opening weekend. Right. So it's a cult classic now. So I mean, look, this happens. This one though, they did not put any marketing into it.
They probably made money last time. They spent $300 million just trying to make it in the first place.
$300 million on a movie that made a little over $20 million this weekend. So we're going to talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Check out our Substack, news.clownfishtv.com. We've got some exclusive content over there. We're going to be ramping it up with more exclusive content over there. Don't worry, we're still going to post regularly as we do over here, so you're not going to be missing our videos or anything. But the extra stuff is all going over there, news.clownfishtv.com. So How to Train Your Dragon stayed number one. Elio earned their lowest box office opening ever. Yeah.
Now I want to point out though, How to Train Your Dragon is going to stay number one, but it didn't do great either. It only did 30. It's going to do 35 million. That what the 28 years later is going to do like 30 million, and then Elio is like 20 to 22 million. So the box office did not do great this weekend overall. I'm not making excuses for Elio. I'm just saying it's interesting because I think a couple of ththings are going on here. I think one, people just want money. Yeah. If they had money, they went to see How to Train Your Dragon or Lilo and Stitch. They just, if you're limited on what you can see because the economy sucks, you're going to wait and just watch the must-see things. Like people are probably going to go to Superman. They're going to go to Fantastic Four. They're going to go to How to Train Your Dragon. I don't think they're going to go to a lot of other things that don't feel like they're must-see. And a lot of people didn't even know Elio was a thing.
No, there was almost no marketing for this. And it feels like that, again, it feels like Disney at this point, they've got projects in the pipeline that I don't think they have a lot of confidence in or they're realistic about it. So they're just like, let's just flush it and move on. And that's what it kind of felt like with the last couple of Marvel movies too. Like they knew they weren't going to be massive hits, but let's just get them out of the system. And then we move on to Avengers, the Doomsday and stuff.
Right. And that's what it seems like. Cause why would you put this movie right after How to Train Your Dragon? I mean, Lilo and Stitch a couple of weeks before that.
Yeah, Lilo and Stitch, definitely that's the same audience, and it's going to cannibalize this one. And again, this is one of the oddball Pixar movies. It's not a sequel, so this is something that everybody's been watching on Disney Plus for free. Not for free, but I'm saying it's part of their subscription for the last 5-6 years now. But they said families are flocking to the familiar face of Toothless on the big screen. Elio is having a harder time drumming up interest as an original animated film with just 9 million earned on opening day from 3,700 theaters. As a result, it's 20 million estimated opening weekend.
I don't think it's because it's an original film that it's not doing well. I think it's because it's a space theme film it's not doing well. Because space theme ones just don't do well for animation for whatever reason. This isn't doing well. Home didn't do great. I mean, WALL-E honestly didn't do great when it came out either. I mean, it's beloved now, but it didn't do super great. Strange World didn't do great. I just don't think people like the space type films with animation. I just really don't think they do.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking back in the 80s, 70s and 80s, definitely science fiction, space. It was a much bigger deal, right? Because I think because of Star Trek, Star Wars, we had Buck Rogers, we had, Battlestar Galactica, we had, a lot of interest in, the space program back then, the space shuttles and space camp. And it was big for our generation, but I don't think it really resonates with kids now.
No, I think there's other things that resonate more. And I just think that in general, they have a hard sell with animated space movies to begin with. And then the trailer did not do this any favors. But I really honestly can't think of a better way to put the trailer out there, because it kind of does say what it's about. It's just one that I have to see it. And you can't, if you want to win the box office, you can't have one that you actually have to see it for it to be good, because people aren't gonna go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing too, like Pixar, historically they've always had a good hook. Like you could give a 1-sentence synopsis of kind of what the movie's about, and it was always a really interesting take. Like, oh yeah, we've got toys coming to life, or we've got this clownfish goes on a quest to go find his kid in the ocean.
The kid's abducted by aliens.
It's like, okay, we've seen that like 1,000 times already, right? So I mean, yeah, and again, it's like you have one shot to take your kids to a movie because it's expensive. You're going to go see something familiar because you can trust it, or you think you can trust it. And frankly, Disney has done this to themselves, not just in terms of the politics in the movies, but in terms of the quality of the movies, the unproven stuff, right?
Well, and then you have that bean mouth art again, which people are just kind of getting over. And I mean, I get it. Like if people don't want to go see it and it doesn't do well, I get it. I understand why. I saw it. It was way better than I expected, and it wasn't a bad movie. I will stand by that. It's not a bad movie. But I understand completely why people don't want to spend their money on it. I get it. And I think that's fine. It's a you choice, and that's completely valid and fair. And I always say, you can like something, you don't have to like something, and I'll stand by that. Like you don't have to agree with me, and that's completely cool. I understand.
So this is what's interesting, though, because they said they've adjusted the projections down to 20 million, to 25 million, the best case scenario. They're thinking between 20 and 22 million. Mm-hmm. But they're talking about how Elemental was a huge flop for them.
It was, but it still did better than this. It did 29.6 million.
Yeah, but they said, it turned into a sleeper hit on its way to the global box office. Elio, I don't think it's going to happen for them, because it is a very crowded summer. There's a lot of other movies internationally. Even I'm like, I don't know if this one's going to appeal to international audiences.
Well, they said Elio so far has a better critic score on Rotten Tomatoes than Elemental, and it has a better cinema score. And cinema scores, when they poll the audience and stuff, I'm telling you, it is a good movie. Do I think it's worth going to the theater to see? Probably not for most people. I'm going to be honest with you. Most people aren't going to probably pay to go see it, and that's fine. But it isn't a bad movie. And I want to say something real quick. People keep saying, well, I hear that he's what they say, oh, he steals a ham radio from a black kid. Look, yes, there's some stuff in the movie, but the thing is, the kid is starting out like he just lost his parents. He's clearly seems like he's on the spectrum. And he's obsessed with things he's obsessed with because he doesn't feel like he has control over anything. And trust me, they never make it out like it's the right thing to do. And by the end of the movie, it's like a whole growth from where he is there to where he is at the end. And it's a growth process. So he does not stay that way. But people are so mad about that. I'm like, but there's more to it than just that. That's part of it, yes, but because he grows as a character, that's the point. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Pixar movies always were kind of I don't know, quirky, and mm-hmm. I think before the market became so saturated with 3D movies, because again, I'm old enough to remember when Toy Story came out, and yes. I remember the reviewers complaining about it. The 3D is going to hurt your eyes. It's going to make you go blind. This is never going to catch on. Nobody's going to want fake cartoons. It all has to be hand drawn.
Playing with Woody will make you go blind.
Playing with your Woody will make you go blind. And now everybody's doing it, right? And some people are doing it better than Pixar. But a lot of people are doing it better than Pixar now. But and look, I'm gonna be honest. John Lasseter is not there. That is a huge part of it. Like, so much of Pixar came from John Lasseter, and they try to spin it like, oh yeah, he was just a spoke in a wheel or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but you're still making sequels to the movies ideas he came up with, aren't you? Yeah,
that's kind of true. And I think they've damaged their brand. And so people it used to be any Pixar movie came out, people would give it a chance. Like Inside Out, to be honest with you, was kind of a weird premise too. Yeah. People went and they loved it. And then Inside Out 2 comes out and it does $1 billion plus and does amazing at the theater. I think that people were more willing to accept things then. I think they put more effort into things then. And this one
Yeah.
feels like they got halfway through it and were like, oh shit, people don't like this stuff. And they tried to fix it. That's the narrative around it. It comes across mostly okay as the movie presents itself, but people just don't trust it anymore like they used to. They used to automatically trust Disney and Pixar. Now they're like, I'll wait till I see what other people say and then I might go.
Yeah, I think too, you can kind of look at Disney, how much confidence they have in it because they didn't spend the money on the marketing. But it's not just that, it's the merchandise. There's like no, as far as I know, there's like hardly any merchandise.
Is there any merchandise for this one? I mean,
I don't know if
there
there's
probably
any.
is, but I don't know.
Because usually you can tell whether or not they're thinking the movie's going to make money based on how much merch you're seeing in theme parks, how many toys you're seeing at Target. You know what I'm saying? Like Wish had a bunch of toys, but months before
look
the
what
movie came
happened.
out, and it was a flop. Yeah, it was a huge failure. So, but Encanto did too, but Encanto actually wound up doing pretty okay. So I think Elemental had toys too. I think they had plushies and stuff for that. And it just, not a lot, but I think they expected to do better. Now there
are some toys. I just looked. There are some, but not a lot. They have like a storyteller's pack with little figures and a plushie. They probably have at the Disney store more than anything, but like I'm at Walmart and there's some toys, but there's not a lot.
You know what I'm seeing at Walmart? I'm not seeing an end cap full of Disney toys. I'm seeing an end cap full of Skibbity toilet toys.
That is true.
I mean, I'm not, because I remember yesterday, went to Walmart yesterday and they just put these out and I'm looking at this. I'm like, this says so much, right? That the brands that would have been here just a couple of years ago are not here. Instead, we've got Skibbity F and Toilet. Now, I don't think any of those toys were sold, but like Skibbity Toilet next to the Mr. Beast toys, next to the, YouTuber action figures or whatever.
That goes back to what we were saying before about like when we were kids, space movies did okay because it was the generation was into it. And now this generation doesn't seem to be, into that kind of stuff. What they're into is Skibbity Toilet, Mr. Beast stuff. You know what I mean?
They're into
Minecraft.
Horror.
Yes. Five Nights at Freddy's, those kind of things. That's what these kids are into. And it's all, either video games or, YouTube. It stems from that, those kind of things. They don't care about space and, a kid in space. They just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a generational thing as well.
Yeah, it is kind of weird though. But like Inside Out did so well. Inside Out 2. I'm like, yeah, because it was a sequel. And actually, if you had kept it intact the way that they wanted to release it before they got their notes about taking some of the the LGBTQ potentially ship bait stuff out of it, it probably wouldn't have done as well.
That's probably true.
I'm gonna be honest, because parents they're like, oh, we can go see Inside Out 2. We can trust it. I'll be honest. I did not think Inside Out 2 was going to do that great. I thought it'd do okay, but I didn't think it was going to do gangbusters. And once people caught wind of the fact that, hey, we can trust this one. We can take our kids to go see it. This is actually a Pixar movie. Then they all went to go see it. But yeah, I mean, I think
there was a lot of messaging at Elemental. I didn't watch it at all, but from what I've seen and heard, but it was done in a nuanced way for the most part. And Elio, there really isn't like people are. I'm gonna get kind of irritated because I'm hearing what people are saying, and it's like, yeah, but that's definitely not how it's presented. You're just like looking for things to twist around to make it sound like it's something that it's not. And it's just, if you're expecting me to just give you confirmation bias and narrative here, I'm not going to do that. That's not what I do.
We've actually never done that. I mean, yes, we play the game with the thumbnails, but a lot of times I do it intentionally because I want to see people actually watch the video before they comment.
Yeah, they say stuff and it's like, you didn't watch the video.
You didn't watch the video because if you watch the video, you'd know what we're actually saying, or you're commenting before you would have had time to watch the video. So I do that intentionally sometimes just to mess with people.
But I'm just saying, if you're expecting us to tell you what you want to hear, and sometimes we probably do agree with you on what we're saying, but we're not going to do that and say something we don't think is true or we don't believe in it just because we want you to like click on our video or to give confirmation bias or whatever to get more views, because that's like really shitty. Like, we're here to try to be honest with you, and that's what we've always done, and that's what we're always going to stick with. We're not going to lie to you just to get more views. And I'm sorry, I went into Elio thinking it was going to be dog shit. I was dreading it. I'm like, this is going to suck.
Yeah, you're kind of like, oh crap, I got to go get tickets.
Gotta go see Elio. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that was actually good. Now, it could have been that it seemed better to me because the bar was low, but my daughter didn't have the same thoughts about it that I did, and she liked it. She's like, that was actually really good. And I'm like, yeah. And I keep hearing people complaining about different things about the character, but it's like if you watch the movie, it makes sense. If you watch the movie, yeah, there's some issues. That's the whole point. They're trying to show you that what he's doing is incorrect, and he needs to understand he needs to make a life here. He needs to accept his life here. He needs to understand that yes, his parents are gone, but you need to make friends here. You can have friends there too, and they're just latching on to these like little nitpicky things that they're twisting, and it's just like, but that's not really what happened. But anyway. I just don't think people are going to see it because I don't think kids are into space movies. I don't think people trust Pixar. And the trailer did not look interesting to many people. And they're really tired of the bean mouth shit.
All right. So there we go, guys. Lowest opening ever. I hope you're happy, Chuds.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, like I said, two things could be true at the same time. The movie could be not perform well at all and absolutely do dog shit at the box office and still be decent. I think a lot of people just don't have the money and they'd rather just wait to Disney Plus because they're too busy watching things they care about more, like, How to Train Your Dragon or Spider-Man, or not Spider-Man, Superman, or
Superman's
Fantastic Four or whatever. They're gonna wait for the big ones, and then they're gonna spend their money on that, and they're gonna take these things they don't care so much about. I'll check it out later on Disney Plus when it's free with my subscription.
Yep. So let's wrap this one up, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Check out news.clownfishtv.com for more content, and we'll talk later.
Bye.
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.